What's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Dolphins franchise. Welcome to the playoffs. Now, actually, which is really funny, we finally make the playoffs after a few years here. Back when we had Adam Gase is when we made it, but we got crushed by the Steelers. We're back, and we actually have a bye. It is cool to have the bye and finish first in the AFC. The other issue is if we go and lose in the division round, like we did all this and got the bye just to lose, that's a little bit more pressure on me. But again, hopefully we are good with that. The first thing I do want to do with this week, because there's not much to do in the activities list, obviously. We won't even be going to weekly strategy. But what I'm going to do is we're actually going to sim this week at the end of this episode. So we're going to take a look at the playoff bracket now. We'll see who wins, see who our matchup is, all that type of stuff. So these are the teams that made the playoffs. Now, this is crazy. The Chiefs make it. That's kind of realistic. The Colts make it. Like, I can see them making it. We'll see if Jonathan Taylor can carry them. Matt Ryan, obviously a huge upgrade on Carson Wentz. But the Texans make it. The Chargers is realistic. But the Texans making it is wild. The Steelers make it, and the Patriots make it. I don't know how this is what happened in the AFC when we have all these juggernaut-type teams, but that is a wild simulation for EA to have. Even us getting the bye is a little bit wild in my opinion. In the NFC, we have Green Bay, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and Philadelphia. And we have the Cowboys and the 49ers. And then obviously the Cardinals have the bye. So the NFC is actually pretty realistic, I think. It's actually a decently realistic playoffs for this year. I think that this could be it. Or obviously not exactly, but this could be kind of what it looks like. The AFC, though, that's all out of whack. That is completely unrealistic. I can't believe that that's what the playoffs are going to look like for this year. With the playoff bracket taken care of, I do want to just give an overlook at the roster and just kind of take a look at what we have going on. Obviously, TUA has been awesome. He has that +4 morale. He's been pretty good for this year. Raheem Mostert just got that extension. He's been great. Edmonds has been awesome as a second running back, and Michelle has been an awesome red zone guy. Tyreek Hill, I mean, what can I say about him? And Jalen Waddle, those two guys have been going crazy. Cedric Wilson was actually pretty reliable when I did look at him. I need to look at him a little bit more, but he actually was pretty reliable when I did decide to throw the ball for him. Something to keep in mind of is Teron Armstead is hurt, and we can actually take a look at how many weeks left. So he's out for 2 weeks. So I think he's missing 2 more weeks. So I think he's going to miss 2 games. So we're without Teron Armstead, which is really bad because that might be our most important addition to this team outside of Tyreek Hill. So that's really unfortunate. So Liam Eichenberg is getting the start at left tackle. Connor Williams was a great pickup. We just extended JC Treader, who was a guy we picked up from free agency, which is something I did, not the real life Dolphins. But again, I think it's a very good signing. Robert Hunt, and then Austin Jackson is the starter at right tackle. Mike Gesicki has also been incredible, and Jeremy Smythe has been very reliable as well. So that's a quick overlook of the offense and what they've been doing. Defensively, man, I do want to shout out Channing Tindall as our rookie. He's been awesome. Jerome Baker has been very, very good too. Kind of just all around being a great linebacker. Van Ginkel has been interesting. I don't know what we're going to do with him, but that's definitely a little bit of a gap on our team, especially if we don't decide to bring him back. Jalen Phillips was awesome when he was healthy, so we really need him to stay healthy just because when he was hurt, obviously, he couldn't do anything. But when he was on the field, he was very productive. Defensive line was awesome. Wilkins has been an incredible run stopper. Same thing with Raekwon Davis. And Emmanuel Ogbah has just been incredible of his own right, just getting sacks, stopping the run. He is our second best defender on this team, and that is very impressive considering we have guys like Javon Holland and Byron Jones and people like that. But I would say he's our second best defender behind Xavier Howard. So our defensive line has been very good. Zach Steeler has been incredible as a backup and our main backup at defensive and defensive tackle. He has been great. Safety-wise, Brandon Jones also has been wildly good just as a tackler and an inside-the-box safety. Love him for what he does and playing that linebacker type role when we bring him into the box. He's been awesome as a tackler. Not scared to go and make those big tackles on those big running backs or those big receivers, so you love to see that. Still struggles in coverage a little bit, I will say, but again, that's not where he strives. He is there his role is to be an inside the box linebacker, and Eric Rowe is behind him to be that coverage linebacker who's been pretty good in coverage. He had that interception as well, so he's been decent. Javon Holland has been a star here as he is a 90 overall now, +2 with morale, so he's playing like a 92 right now. But Javon Holland has been incredible, probably a third best defender. He's just been awesome as that free safety, just kind of overlooking everything, getting sacks, kind of getting interceptions. He's just been awesome. So I'm very happy with Javon Holland. Cornerbacks wise, it gets a little interesting because obviously Xavier Howard is having one of the best cornerback years I've seen. He's been incredible, playing a 97 right now. He is awesome. Byron Jones, he does have +2 morale, but I was actually very disappointed in how he played. I can't lie. He got beat on a lot of routes, got beat deep, and then he would make the tackles. So I think he's pretty high in tackles for the team. But again, that's just because he's allowing so many catches. So he was a little disappointing. So he is a trade candidate heading into this offseason. But for now, again, he's still our cornerback too, and he's still playing that role. Nick Needham is technically our cornerback 3 right now as a normal corner, which I'll leave, but I think we will probably substitute Eric Rowe into that slot corner role for the playoffs. But he's been okay again, kind of in that Byron Jones play where he's kind of okay sometimes, but also he's playing way worse than I would expect. Keon Cross has been an awesome special teamer, same thing with Quincy Wilson. Special teams wise, Jason Sanders seems to be doing bad, but I checked the stats really quick just so I was aware of what was going on before I started recording the video. He actually only missed 4 field goals or something, so that feels like a lot less than what I felt like. I felt like he missed so many more field goals, but I guess he only missed 4 somehow. So honestly, that's okay for him, and then hopefully he rebounds from that next year. And Thomas Morstead was just a gap fill, stop gap punter, so nothing bad there. And then River Craycraft saved one of our games, and he was pretty good as our returner, but it's not something where he was incredible enough to have to bring back. Specialist wise, like I said, we're actually going to be moving up Eric Rowe to that number 1 slot corner, so he will be the number 1 slot corner heading into the playoffs just because he is a little bit better in coverage for me. I just think that's the play we need to make, but the rest of everything will stay the same because this is how we want it set up. It's set up pretty perfectly. And then the practice squad remains the same as you guys know. So Preston Williams is still on the roster. Again, in real life, he probably does make the actual roster, but I want to keep him on the team and have River Craycraft as the returner, so I just kept him on the practice squad. So we're going to take a look at the league. So first, I'll just let you guys take a look at the top performers. So top 3 in passing yards was Tom Brady, Mahomes, and Burrow. Honestly, that's pretty realistic. Rushing leaders was Zeke, Derrick Henry, and Najee. Zeke is a little unrealistic because I feel like they would use Pollard more, but other than that, like Derrick Henry and Najee, both studs. Receiving leaders is kind of crazy. Mike Evans obviously did well with Brady. Calvin Ridley having a crazy year because in this he wasn't suspended. And then MVS, man, he really took over for Tyreek Hill and put up 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. So I guess the Chiefs were right to trade him to us. Obviously, we're very happy with Tyreek as well, but that is a crazy year for Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Sack leaders, DeMarcus Lawrence, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. Pretty much what you expect to see, but DeMarcus Lawrence having an incredible year. And the interception leaders, Xavier Howard was incredible for us. 14 interceptions. 8 for AJ Bouye and 6 for Xavier McKinney. And the tackle leaders are as follows: Roquan Smith, Rashawn Evans, and Demario Davis. So we'll take a little bit of a deeper dive into the player stats, and we'll go for our team first, and then we'll go over the whole league. Tua having an incredible year, 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, 14 picks. That is pretty good for me. Honestly, I'm very happy with that. He will be our quarterback going forward for sure. That is 100%. So no worries, 40 touchdowns, 40 interceptions. That is a great year from Tua Tagovailoa. You love to see it. Rushing wise, Raheem Mostert was incredible. He didn't get injured too much. I think he missed like half a game. 1,200 yards for him, 7 touchdowns, 5.9 average. That's awesome. And like I said, Chase Edmonds was actually so good for us. Just one less touchdown. He averaged 5 yards per carry and had 730 yards of his own, right? Like, that's incredible for a complimentary running back. And then Sony Michel, you might look at his yards and average and say, not that great. But he put up 9 touchdowns, so he was really good for his role. And Tua did a little bit on the ground as well. But I'm very happy with our 3 running backs. So that's why we extended Mostert, and then we'll see if we can get Michel back. We'll see if we can sign him, but it might not be the case. We'll see what he wants to get in free agency. He might want to hit free agency after putting up that many touchdowns, so we'll see what happens with him. Receiving wise, Jalen Waddle actually had more receiving yards than Tyreek Hill, which is crazy to me. I thought it would be Tyreek Hill, to be honest, but somehow, some way, Jalen Waddle had a bunch more yards and he had a bunch more receptions just because he was more kind of, not the underneath guy, but the intermediate guy, whereas Tyreek was purely deep. As you can see, he averaged 19.8 yards per catch. So again, Tyreek Hill was incredible, though, in the red zone specifically. 21 touchdowns, so that is awesome to see from our receiver. And again, Jalen Waddle, 10 touchdowns for himself. That was great. And then, like I said, Mike Gesicki was also very good for his own right. 800 yards as the third receiver is incredible, honestly. And then he put up only 2 touchdowns, which was a little bit tough. But again, Tyreek was just so electric in the touchdown area. But again, Mike Gesicki, honestly, pretty good for him. Cedric Wilson was very reliable when I threw to him. I feel like I need to throw to him a little bit more. He's only at 31 receptions. That's something I'll be looking at going forward. But he was very reliable once we did give him the ball. And then even Chase Edmonds was a great receiving back. So we almost put up 1,000 all-purpose yards. So that's great for Chase Edmonds. Raheem Mostert had a couple catches here and there. But again, Chase Edmonds was incredible. And then I also like Durham Smythe as that backup tight end, that possession guy, that blocking guy. So he was good for his contract as well, receiving-wise. Blocking-wise, we had an incredible year for our offensive line, only allowing 9 sacks. I think that's right, 6 plus 3. Yeah, so that's 9 sacks allowed, which is pretty good. And 2 of them were from a backup, essentially, because we started Austin Jackson, who somehow only allowed 0 sacks. I think that's because we always roll it to the left, so when we get sacked on the left, it applies it to Teron Armstead. So I wouldn't even worry about Teron Armstead. Again, most of those sacks could be actually because of Austin Jackson. It's just because we roll it to the left. So it applies it to Teron Armstead. But again, the offensive line in total was incredible. We did a great job to get the ball out quick and all that type of stuff. So Good job by them. Defensively, Javon Holland leading the defense in tackles over our linebackers. He was incredible. That's what I was talking about. Like, he was just incredible as that safety. Jerome Baker, obviously, he was a stud. Kind of everywhere. He had a couple interceptions, a wild number of tackles for loss. So he had 92 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 8 sacks and 2 interceptions. That's a great year from Jerome Baker. Brandon Jones, both of our safeties being amazing, with Brandon Jones having 89 tackles for himself. Like, again, both of our safeties were so a part of the play. A lot of times, like, people say safeties don't have as much value as other players. That's why they get paid less. They don't get drafted in the top 10 that much. But Brandon Jones and Javon Holland, we use them so much. They are so important to this team. So great job from them. Channing Tindall, the rookie, 4th in tackles. That is awesome to see, as he had 62 tackles, and he didn't even start the whole year, so you love to see that for the rookie. Nick Needham and Byron Jones, that's really unfortunate because, again, they're getting all those tackles because they're giving up so many receptions. That's really tough. Xavier Howard having a bunch of tackles as well. Tackles for loss, though, Jerome Baker, again, he was incredible. Emmanuel Ogbah with 14 of his own. Channing Tindall with 11. Jalen Phillips with 8. Like, again, if Phillips was healthy for more of the season, he would be great. Raekwon Davis and Christian Wilkins, again, both being great as those run stoppers. And look at this. Nobody with 10 sacks, but I feel like we got a bunch of sacks from a bunch of people, like a bunch of our DBs, a bunch of our edge rushers. Emmanuel Ogbah with 9 again, so that's 3 straight years with 9 sacks, 2 from real life and then 1 from this first year. So again, pretty good there for Emmanuel Ogbah. You love to see us. Let me go to sacks now. But again, Emmanuel Ogbah was incredible for us, stopping the run, getting sacks. He's been so worth the money, and he was, again, our second best defender. Jerome Baker with 8 sacks. Again, I used him a lot too, so when he rushed, it was great. 8 sacks for him. Again, he was just great all around. Again, he had interceptions as well, so great job for Jerome Baker. Jalen Phillips was actually 3rd in sacks for our entire team, and he missed like 4 or 5 games. So imagine if he was healthy, he probably hits that double-digit mark. So again, we just need him to be healthy. Nick Needham with 4 sacks as a defensive back. That is very, very cool. Christian Wilkins did a little bit better than in the past as a pass rusher. So you really like to see that. And again, Channing Tindall was awesome as a rookie. Interceptions, Xavier Howard was just incredible. That's all you have to speak about when you talk about interceptions. So not even going to talk more about that. It's Xavier Howard's show for the interceptions. And this is where we get to the kicking, which is why I'm going to tell you. He only missed 4 kicks. I don't know how that's possible. I feel like I missed more when I was recording. Like, I feel like maybe they were just clutch, so I just felt like they missed more. I feel like I missed way more with Jason Sanders, but apparently I only missed 4, so I'll take it. Only missing 4 field goals in total. I cannot be too mad at Jason Sanders, which is pretty much it for the stats. Obviously, they have that return stuff, but we don't really care about that just because, again, we saw what we did as a returner. Or at least I did, because sometimes I wouldn't include it, but I know how our returners did. He was just an average returner, just didn't fumble the ball. Let's take a look at the league stats. Again, Tom Brady having an incredible year. Probably the MVP, 5,600 yards. I'm pretty sure that's a record. 47 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Mahomes was awesome as well. 5,200 yards, 45 touchdowns, not interceptions, sorry, and 13 interceptions. So both of these guys showing out, as they should. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the game, probably the best 2 quarterbacks in the game. Burrow passed for an unbelievable amount of yards. Just didn't have the touchdowns that they did, but also didn't have the picks that they did. But again, 29 touchdowns and 9 interceptions is not bad. Again, passed for a bunch of yards. Justin Herbert came back after, I think when we checked in that 9.5 episode, he wasn't doing great, but 4,600 yards is an incredible amount of yards. 27 touchdowns, 18 picks. So not great from Herbert, but I didn't make the roster, so hopefully he performs better going forward. Davis Mills had a great year. 34 touchdowns, 14 picks, 4,600 yards. You love to see it. He's one of my guys. I loved him. I thought he was such a steal for the Texans, so you love to see it for Davis Mills. Jameis Winston with 32 touchdowns, 16 picks, 4,500 yards. That's great for him. Mac Jones, who we just played in yesterday's episode, he was pretty good for the Patriots. 38 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's pretty good for Mac Jones. Derek Carr here. Trevor Lawrence kind of having a better year than his rookie year. I mean, almost any year he has this year will be better than his rookie year, but not too bad from him. Mariota proving he might be more than just a stopgap guy, but we'll see. 24 touchdowns, 10 picks, a bunch of yards. Rodgers, Stafford, Dak Prescott, Justin Fields. Sam Darnold having a way better year than you would think. 4,200 yards, 32 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. He might be the Panthers' future at quarterback because that's a pretty good year. Trey Lance having 4,200 yards, 34 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. And then Tua Tagovailoa with 40 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. That's pretty good for him. Carson Wentz not throwing that many interceptions. And for some reason, whatever reason, Josh Allen only throwing 29 touchdowns and throws so many interceptions with 17. I have no idea what happened there. Kirk Cousins having a pretty good year, and I'll just scroll down to see if you guys care about any of these guys, as now we're getting to the backup. Those were the starters for you guys. Anybody of note, I'm just scrolling through so you guys can see your team's guy. So now I'll just quickly show you who led in touchdowns. Brady was first with 47. Mahomes was second with 45. Tua was actually third with 40, which you love to see. Rodgers was third, and then Mac Jones was fifth. So that's a very interesting top 5 for the passing touchdowns. Rushing wise, let's see who led in yards. Of course, it was Zeke. We already checked this, but Zeke, Henry, and Najee. Then you have Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, and then Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert is kind of one of the only guys that sticks out here, as most of these guys are elite running backs. So this is a pretty realistic list. And I'll just scroll through just to show you guys everyone who got yards, just so you can see your favorite teams, running backs, and you can see who was doing what. So just giving you guys a look. Feel free to pause the video and see where your team is at. I want you guys to be involved. I want you guys to kind of know what's going on. This is a primarily Dolphins focused thing, but when we do these special episodes, I do want to go over the league and show you what you guys are missing in terms of other teams. Receiving wise, Mike Evans had an incredible year, 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns. Ridley, same thing. Again, we already talked about MPS. Randall Cobb had an amazing year with his quarterback and Aaron Rodgers. They continue to have that great chemistry, but Randall Cobb goes off now that Devontae Adams is gone. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill back to back with each other. Crazy years for both of them. Love to see it for them. Marquise Brown on his new team with the Cardinals doing pretty good, 1,300 yards and 6 touchdowns. Michael Thomas back to being healthy, 1,200 yards, only 2 touchdowns, which is interesting. You have Keenan Allen, Michael Gallup, Odell Beckham returning to form on the Seahawks. Christopher Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd coming back as that slot receiver in the Bengals offense. Russell Gage puts up 1,000 yards with the Bucs. Again, no wonder Brady's putting up those stats when he's Russell Gage putting up 1,000 yards, so that's a great signing. Christian Kirk actually showing out for that contract as he put up 1,100 yards for that, which you love to see. Let me just go right back to the NFL. And for now, I will just scroll down so you guys can see some of the other guys. And Mike Gesicki will be up here for tight ends, which you like to see. Evan Ingram up there. I believe I just saw Jarvis Landry as well. These are some interesting names with some interesting statistics. Was that Devontae Parker with 838 yards? Hopefully he stayed healthy for them for the New England Patriots, as that was pretty good. Will Fuller back to being healthy, and then now we're seeing a couple running backs and tight ends. But just scrolling through so you guys can see what some of you guys might see some signings that you guys made, and you can see how your players did in the receiving game. We will quickly check touchdowns as well. Tyreek Hill leading all the receivers in touchdowns with 21. Next up is D-Hop with 16. Then it is Mike Evans with 14, MVS with 14, Randall Cobb with 12, Travis Kelce with 12. James Washington with the Cowboys had 11, Stephon Diggs had 11, Russell Gage had 11. McCole Hardman had 10 and 1,000 yards for the Chiefs. KJ Osborne had 900 yards and 10 touchdowns. Amari Cooper with his new team, 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Van Jefferson, 10 touchdowns on the Rams. Texans signed Julio Jones, and that might be why they made the goddamn playoffs, as he put up 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. And Jalen Waddle, obviously another one of those cats, putting up over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. You love to see it. Going into the defense, let's see who led in tackles. Demario Davis, that he's a great linebacker. Blake Martinez, Foyesade, Oluokun, Rashad Evans, Roquan Smith, Shaq Thompson. Most of the guys you would expect to see here. Some interesting names as you see the new Pittsburgh Steelers and Miles Jack putting up a bunch of tackles. Let's see who led in sacks. Of course, DeMarcus Lawrence, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. Von Miller on the Bills. J.J. Watt has a little bit of a resurgence. Chandler Jones has 15 sacks on his new team. Micah Parsons continues to be a force to be reckoned with. Chase Young playing very good. Shaq Barrett, Rashawn Gary. Tyus Bowser having a little bit of a breakout there for the Ravens. I believe he might be a free agent coming up, so we'll see how he does. Trey Hendrickson proving he's not just a fluke guy to get sacks. He continues to put up great stats. Jonathan Allen, so a bunch of guys getting double digits. Bradley Chubb, Aiden Hutchinson as a rookie on the lines. Joey Bosa, Shaquem Griffin, that is wild. He only has one arm. He puts up 10 sacks as he is back in the league with a vengeance. Hassan Reddick, the new free agent signing for the Eagles, so you love to see that. And the interceptions, they're not showing X because of a glitch, but he is obviously the leader with 14. Then you have AJ Bouye, Xavier McKinney, Darius Leonard, Jordan Poyer, Quandre Diggs, Ronald Darby. Patrick Surtain continues to be pretty good. Derwin James is obviously an awesome player. JOK has obviously been a pretty good linebacker for them with 5 interceptions, so that's very interesting to see for the NFL stats. And then kicking wise, I don't know if any of you care, but I'll give it a quick scroll if you guys care. I don't think you guys do though, so no worries there. Now we will quickly just check the records because I believe that Xavier Howard did tie or beat his record. So let's go to season here, as Tom Brady actually does break the yards leader for pass yards, 5,639 in 2021, which is technically this year. So he is up there for passing yards as he breaks that record, and Mahomes is up here too. But I do want to check interceptions, defensive INTs, And it is Night Train Lane with 14 and then Xavier Howard. So Xavier Howard ties the interception record of all time. So that's really cool to see Night Train Lane and Xavier Howard, a Dolphin, up there. So that's very cool to see for the record-breaking Dolphins. You love to see that. Now, just before we go to team stats, we'll just take a quick look at all the team's records so you guys know where they finish and the team stats that go along with it. So we'll take a look at the standings first, as this is the standings for the entire league. Us and the Cardinals go 14-3. The Packers and the Chiefs go 13-4. The Bucks at 12-5. The Patriots going 12-5, which is super unexpected. The Cowboys go 12-5. The Chargers go 11-6, finally making the playoffs. The Texans go 10-7 and make the playoffs. The 49ers go 10-7. The Colts go 10-7 to make the playoffs. The Steelers go 10-7 and make the playoffs with Kenny Pickett. Eagles go 9-8 and they make the playoffs. The Ravens miss out at 9-8. The Raiders miss out at 9-8, as those two teams miss out barely for the playoffs. The Titans go 8-9, the Saints go 8-9, but they make it because again they are in the NFC. The Browns miss at 8-9 somehow, even though Deshaun was starting the whole year. The Panthers go 7-10, even though Sam Darnold played pretty good. The Bengals miss out somehow, Burrow putting up that many yards, but they miss out. The Vikings miss out, the Bills miss out, the Broncos miss out. So a bunch of teams. The Rams are 5-12, so a kind of a crazy year, to be honest, especially in the AFC. You would not expect the teams to have made it in the playoff picture. So again, that is very crazy. And honestly, I wish Madden was a little bit better at that, especially just considering like some of those teams. Like the Texans have no business making the playoffs this year, but it is what it is, I guess. Offensively, let's see where the Dolphins are at. So they're probably about top 10 in total offense there. Passing yards wise, we are again just about top 10. Never mind, we are not top 10. We are, did I skip us? No, we're not. So actually for passing yards, we're actually pretty low in the league as a team, which is very interesting because TUA had a pretty good year. That's very interesting. Rush yards, we are near the top, at top 4, top 5. So that's really cool to see. Points per game, we are top 4 with 29.8. Passing touchdowns, we are 3rd, and then rushing touchdowns, we are just outside the top 10, or probably right at the top 10. So that's very cool to see. Defensively, we were the leading defense, which you love to see. Our pass even took a step up from the middle of the year when, again, at episode 9.5, I was really worried about it because we were at pretty much the lowest of the league for passing yards, but again, we come back and now we're top 5 in yards allowed for passing game, which you love to see. Rushing wise, we were first by 400 yards, so our rush defense with Christian Wilkinson, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Raekwon Davis was incredible. You love to see that. Points allowed, we were top 5, so our defense really showed out this year. Sacks wise, we didn't have that many just because, again, Jalen Phillips was hurt, and he's the guy you would think to get double digit in his second year, but unfortunately he was hurt. So again, but we did have a bunch of sacks as a total, but again, we are near the kind of the middle of the league. So with 38, so again, hopefully Jalen Phillips can be healthy next year and we can raise that number. Then interceptions wise, we should be near the top. And look at Xavier Howard just carrying us to 20 interceptions, to second most in the league, which you love to see. Conversions wise, on third down, we were great, second in the league, which you love to see. Red zone efficiency, we can take a look as we were second in red zone efficiency as well, so you love to see that. We clearly led the league in penalties just because, again, that's what happens when you play all the games instead of simulating. That's just what happens, so I can't really control that. And then turnovers, let's see where we were in the difference, because I feel like we kind of cleaned it up near the end of the year as we were positive by 2. So again, kind of just slightly above average in terms of the turnover difference, so not too bad. We were actually at the top of giveaways, so that means our defense played great in terms of getting takeaways because we're at the top in giveaways, but we still were above average in turnover difference. So that means we're probably top 2 or top 1 in takeaways. Yeah, we're top 2 just behind the Bills. So our defense really showed out. As again, 20 picks really helps out a lot. And that brings us to the end for the team stats. So with that all being said, I believe we do know the yearly award just because the regular season is over, but I'm going to wait for it to pop up in the activities list before I even look. So I have no idea either about the activities list. So we'll figure that out when they pop up on the activities list, just so we're going in order. We will just do weekly strategy really quick as I talk to you guys, just because we do want to sim and see who we are playing in the next episode. If I go the entire year without getting a practice injury, and then right when the playoffs happen during our bye week we get an injury, I will be sick. I will be furious. That will be really annoying to me, as no injuries on the offense. Please have no injuries on the defense. I'm pretty sure, I feel like there is a thing where you don't get injuries during the bye week. It would just be really sick, as thank God we don't have any injuries going into next week. So when I took a look at our depth chart at the beginning of the episode, that is the lineup going into next week. I do have a couple of upgrades, but I will just auto upgrade them. So with all that being said, let's take a look at who we will be facing next week in the divisional round as we will advance the week. Let's see who we're facing. Let it be a relatively easy team. And look, guys, we're playing against the Indianapolis Colts, who we did play this year, and I'm pretty sure we beat them, if my memory serves me correct. Let me actually go check that. We might as well, as we'll just go to schedule, and then let's get to the Colts game. Okay, so we are at the Colts game, and we actually did beat them. We did beat them in overtime. So this is a crazy game, as we did play them already. Now we're playing them in the divisional round of the playoffs. I believe they just beat the Chiefs too, so that is definitely something to worry about, because if they beat the Chiefs, there's something to worry about, especially because Mahomes was crazy. That means their defense is playing good, so that's something to worry about. So the Colts are a team to be reckoned with, and they gave us one of our best fights in the regular season, as we had to go to overtime to beat them, as these were the stats in that game. TUA, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Matt Ryan played good. Rushing-wise, Jonathan Taylor was incredible. Raheem Mostert was good too. Receiving-wise, we had Jalen Waddle, Molly Cox. So yeah, definitely a very interesting team to be going up against in the Indianapolis Colts. That is very interesting. 10-7 versus 14-3. We went to overtime with them, and they just beat the Chiefs. So they're definitely a team to be reckoned with. We want to get our first win in how long for the playoffs. I'm pretty sure the Lions are the only team that is below us in terms of last playoff win, in terms of recency. So we definitely want to get our first playoff win, hopefully, in this season. Next episode, we're playing against the Colts. Look out for that tomorrow. And yeah, with that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.